So good afternoon or morning, everyone. I'm Ana Arteaga. I'm from Spain. I'm a social worker, and I'm going to present you the topic of perception and self-care. We will go through the perceptive process and its steps. Then we will divide the two possible situations of the perceptive process, one in which we are observers and one in which we are the observed, right? And finally, we would go through some gender roles and stereotypes in real life and reflect about them. So to start with, the process of perception. Although we sometimes are not aware of it, we always include some personal representations and give personal meaning to the situations we witness, right? So let's go through the three steps of the process. First, we have the stimuli selection. In this stage, we recognize the environmental stimuli through our five senses. Then we organize the selected stimuli in our brain and arrange them by relating them to similar information we already have in our brain. And the last step includes the interpretation, in which we make the information meaningful to us by relating it to existing information about the world we already have. Unfortunately, at this stage, we apply some values and judgments to the things we perceive because we relate them to past experiences. So we add stereotypes, values, our culture, prejudices. So at the end, as we can see in the second picture, in the picture in the right, we always add some kind of biases to the interpretation of the world. That's how stereotypes are formed, and then they affect directly to our perception of others. Some groups of people that are affected by these stereotypes are mainly the elderly, children, mentally or physically disabled, people, mental health illnesses, people who are suffering mental health illnesses, and then in general, every person who is different in different, right? So what is the normal thing and what is different? But anyway, the non-heterosexual orientations, non-binary gender, people who are suffering addictions, doesn't matter to drugs, to gambling, alcohol, and then of course racism, right? So I would like you to reflect a bit of what is the first image you have about this kind of these groups of people, because probably you would be aware that we always have some stereotypes in mind, even though we don't want to have them, right? So we may perceive these people as more vulnerable or uh, maybe having more problems, more exclusion, more difficulties into having a normal life, right? So we could reflect a bit and discuss about it. So we can give some times for it, right? And then we go through we as observers. So we, as we have said, we sometimes applied unconscious bias, and we are gonna define some of them. We have the halo effect that happens when you develop a positive impression of someone on the basis of just one positive attribute or trait. For example, the first time we see a person that is very confident, we think she or he must be also intelligent and smart, as he or she is very confident, but it's just a bias. We don't know if that's true or not. Then we have on the opposite side the horn effect that happens when you make a quick negative judgment about someone on the basis of one negative trait. An easy example could be like you see for the first time a small person, and we are on a sport context, right? And we think this person could be bad at playing basketball for sure. For example, that would be an example of a horn effect. We have also the confirmation bias, which is a tendency to search for, interpret, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports our prior beliefs or values. And next one would be affinity bias, which is a tendency that people have to connect with others who share the similar interests or experiences or backgrounds, but maybe we are not that similar in the end, but we at the first time we that's what we think, right? And lastly, the contrast effect. We often judge by making comparisons, but depending on the standard person we base our comparisons on, our opinions may change, so maybe better or maybe worse. So our biases and expectations may also influence others' performance. So it's not uh, just influencing our view of them, our perspective, our opinion of other people, but may also be influencing their performance, and that's called the Pygmalion effect, which is proved in uh, uh, context of school or high school, in which high expectations of a teacher lead to improved performance of a student in a given area, and also low expectations lead to poor performances and can also be applicable to the workplace. So, could be the conclusion of it? We should observe without judging always. And if we are aware of that biases taking place in our brain, we should try to, let's say, take them out of our brain or control them, right, for not affecting our perception. Then let's place ourselves at we being observed, not as observers anymore, but we being observed. So, as we now know that biases and stereotypes exist and that we may be affected by them, that also is applicable at us wanting the rest to have a positive image of us. So we may act trying to fulfill other people's expectations. If people think we're gonna dress in that this or that way, so we may be dressing like people are expecting us to, or we may be behaving into different contexts in the at high school, at work, with our family, friends, with our partner. We may be behaving like the rest are expecting us to behave, but why is it so? Sometimes that's happening because we are so influenced, and we really care about other people's opinions, right? But if we ask ourselves the question of who are people, who are we caring about, our classmates that we sometimes may even not talk to them, um, and we have no relationship with them, the same with colleagues. So who are people, right? And I turn this question to who are your people? Who are our peoples? Because people are really those who care about us and those who will not judge us for the way we are. So that are the kind of people we may care about their opinion, but not the people in general, right? And if we those people that care about us are not expecting us to behave in this or that way. So then the problem disappears. Okay, and that leads to emotional intelligence, right? What is emotional intelligence? So it's the understanding and managing of the own emotions, mainly. We should know that feelings or emotions are linked to our needs. So it would be important that we analyze the way we feel. Maybe we may feel angry, disappointed, just sad, and these emotions are directly linked to our needs. So to our need of be alone, or on the opposite side, to the need of be with a friend, share a certain feeling, a certain situation that has affected us in an emotional sense. So we cannot expect others to always know what our needs are, but when we have a need related to a person or a group, we should always tell them, because we cannot expect, uh, as I said, always the rest to know what we need. And related to that, we cannot blame others for our feelings. So if we need that someone's company, we cannot expect that person to know it and that person to be with us, but instead we should tell this person we need their company, and they would decide if they are with us or not, but at least they know what we need, right? Empathy is also fundamental in emotional intelligence, as we should always put ourselves into others' shoes and expect others to do the same, right? When we go through a difficult situation or an easy, doesn't matter, but um, we always understand better others' feelings when we try to imagine this situation into us, into ourselves. So it's important that all of us do this, because when we feel like that, we would also want others to do it, right? And always accept ourselves, accept the way we feel, embrace us, and embrace others. A common or a daily example about this needs, expectations of other behaviors and feelings is the example of my birthday party, in which we may be expecting a friend to come to our birthday party, and we spend the whole afternoon and evening waiting him or her showing up. But at the end, she or he doesn't come, so we feel so disappointed, so angry towards him, towards her. But what is the real situation? It was our need. We need that person to be there, but we didn't even tell her or tell him. So if that person should would know that was that important for us, he or she may be appeared, right? So we cannot blame this person for not coming, but we can, in case, blame ourselves for not having tell him or her, right? Just for you to understand it better. And just to conclude, we're gonna go through some, sorry, gender roles and stereotypes. I'm gonna show some sentences, and I want you to imagine who is saying them. Is it a woman or is it a man? Okay, let's go through them. First one is, I've been praised by the boss and got promoted. My salary will increase. I cannot meet you guys this afternoon. I have to take care of the kids. My mother says I'm lucky because my boyfriend helps me from time to time with the household. I couldn't stop crying when I was told my mother had passed away. And I have bought an amazing car that can go up to 150 kilometers per hour. So now I would like you to analyze and reflect on these situations and we will go through them together and build up this kind of table with gender roles. So I let you to, depending on the group, to work in teams, in groups, like two, three people each group, or if you want to just brainstorm your ideas on the gender roles you have seen on the situations already mentioned, and why did you think the person in each situation was a man or a woman. I did this table after you brainstorm your ideas as some of the most common roles for each gender. So regarding women, we have always them in charge of the household duties and the kids, whereas men are not um, on it at all, right? And if they help, sometimes they are seen like heroes, which is really sad and demonstrates really the kind of difference between roles in this aspect. They are supposed to be very powerful and successful at work, which we have also seen it in one of the situations. Women, regarding emotions, right, are sensitive, are supposed always, right, are supposed to be sensitive, well-mannered, polite, whereas men, on the other hand, are supposed to be aggressive, strong. Women are seen as a carer figure, whereas men are so far uh, like far away of this figure, and they are always into cars, sport. It's a typical situation we have about men, right? So now I want you to figure out, to reflect about these two questions. Are these roles and stereotypes showing gender equality? And if not, why? In which sense? And what things must be changed to for the situation to be more equal, right? To reach an equal society. So just let you some times to reflect on it. And thank you all for your attention. If you have any doubts or comments, I'd love that you write to me an email at this email account. So thank you for listening, and hope you find the topic interesting for you. Best.